Yes, guys, welcome back to another reaction, and this is a reaction to the weirdest rules in the world that will blow your mind. Yeah, I guess this is like laws and rules around in different countries that are just quite weird compared to I guess where I'm from or wherever other people are from. And I mean, if I'm to think of one rule or one law that I know about, it's and I might be wrong, but I swear I've heard this that in Dubai, which wait, Dubai isn't Saudi. No, it's in the UAE. Oh, I say I love geography, but yeah, it's UAE. Oh, jeez. Okay, I knew it was UAE, alright? I did. Isn't it like illegal to kiss your partner in public? Again, I don't know if this is going to go into the laws or just rules, like sort of things that most people do. It's a general sort of thing. Or if it's going to be laws. We're going to see. But yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy. If you want more of these reactions, let me know in the comments. Links are in the description to my Instagram, my Twitter for those who want to follow me. Same for my new channel that I'm going to start posting different bits of content there. And for my Patreon, I use my Patreon a lot for the last week that I was banned from YouTube. And I mean, if you want reactions that I posted there in the meantime or in the time that I was gone from YouTube, links are there. But let's jump into this and see what wild rules are in this.
Hello everyone. If you're planning a trip to a country you've never been to before, it's a good idea to study local laws before that. Yes, the basic rules are the same all over the world. You can't take things that aren't yours, you can't fool other people, you can't fight, you can't hurt animals. But certain laws established in certain countries may seem strange, if not absurd.
This is just to actually see though, I actually swear, this isn't for any other reason. What is going on here? I thought this was their pants, but is it part of the costume? This is so confusing. That's all I wanted to look at, right? I swear. Hold my hands up.
Absurd.
Gotta love a bit of Borat.
Most of the time, each of these interdictions has its own history, but this doesn't make them any less surprising. So, what exactly can't be done in some parts of our planet? We're going to find out. Let's get it on. Dying. The Norwegian city of Longyearbyen is located in the polar archipelago of Svalbard in the Arctic Ocean. Svalbard is an area with a special status, so there are many particularities here. But what is happening in Longyearbyen is much more interesting. It's the northernmost settlement in the world, with more than 1,000 permanent residents. It's cold here too. You can observe the polar day and the polar night, and you'll barely meet people over 66. And it's forbidden to die. If you're old or suddenly fall seriously ill and there's a danger that you won't be able to cope with the disease, you'll probably be sent to Oslo as soon as possible. Yes, so that you can live out your last days there. It sounds creepy and somehow unpleasant. At the very least, if death suddenly strikes a man in Longyearbyen, the body will be removed from the city. The small town cemetery stopped receiving newcomers in 1950 when it discovered that the bodies weren't decomposing, and this is a much more serious problem than it seems at first glance. In 1918, the Spanish flu epidemic ravaged the city and claimed many lives. The dead were buried, but more than 30...
It's kind of crazy that the Spanish flu reached this kind of city. Like, I would have thought this city would be way out of the way. It just wouldn't have really reached it, but obviously not.
Years later, it turned out that the permafrost had preserved their bodies. That means that a dangerous virus, which in the 20th century destroyed 5% of the world's population...
Oh no, because when it's cold, like viruses are they're just better at infecting people and stuff, aren't they? That's why like the cold and flu season is always when it's colder, right? Because it's a cold.
Has also survived. Since then, it's been formally forbidden to die, or rather to bury the dead in Longyearbyen. However, this is not the only strange local law. There's a ban on cats too, there's restrictions on the amount of alcohol, and there's a requirement that anyone who goes out on the street carries a rifle.
I mean, cats would probably be too cold, to be fair.
Witchcraft. The times of the Inquisition are long gone, but Canada still prohibits witchcraft. Okay, not exactly doing
Canada? I thought I swear this would have been like in like Nigeria or something. I swear I've heard like there was a country in Africa that like witchcraft was still very prominent, but they were trying to make it illegal or something.
But pretending to do witchcraft. We don't know what sounds stranger though. Witchcraft is dealt with in Article 365 of the Criminal Code of Canada. It says that you're guilty of a crime if you do any of the following things: pretend to cast spells, pretend to tell fortunes, and, wait for it, pretend to find a lost object or person with the help of occult forces.
I'm sorry, if you believe someone who pretends this kind of stuff, you deserve to be tricked.
No coincidence that we repeat the word pretend. Apparently, if you're a real witch or sorcerer and you don't just pretend, there's no punishment.
This is a terrible
However,
film, by the
if
way.
you fake it, you can expect a
For me, I was so excited to see it, and I didn't really guess it. Maybe I was too young to watch it. Maybe I'll rewatch it. Isn't it the magic one? I can't remember what it's called. I was so excited to see it, and I was like, wait, what's this about? If it is a good film, I'm going to rewatch it though, because I was very young when I watched it. Anyway, I'm going to let this video run now.
small prison sentence. Wait, then how is Halloween celebrated in this country? Perhaps part of this law exists to protect people from charlatans and various psychics, but the fact remains. It seems that there was a proposal to lift the ban in 2018, but it didn't get any further.
Man.
Go
It's so
to the
fraudulent.
bathroom after 10 p.m.
This is like China or like North Korea. or
Yes,
something
and
like
you
that.
can't take a shower either. This is the kind of ban that applies to old apartment buildings in Switzerland.
Switzerland?
In addition, this law is really observed, and you can be declared to the police for its violation. But what is the reason for this restriction? Well, it's all because of the noise.
That's outrageous. That's
when
outrageous.
the water is flushed from the toilet, there's a terrible roar, which is able to wake up the neighbors who've already gone to bed. It's exactly the same story with the bath. Of course, you can take a quick shower, but you won't be able to splash about in the bathtub, because when you run the bath, there's a lot of noise, and it exceeds the time set for silence, from 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. Most often, however, these bans are local. In Switzerland, most houses are rented. That's why there are several homeowners associations that set their own rules for tenants, so they may have this strange bathroom ban. By the way, in recent years, Swiss manufacturers of discharge valves are developing exceptionally quiet models. These toilets can be used at any time of day, even if you have very grumpy neighbors. Chewing gum.
I just want to say though, quickly, I don't know what's his name. He's Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. What's his? I don't know the actor's name. Is he in a Key and Peele? God, if he is, I gotta see that. Whatever this is, I gotta see that. Let me know in the comments because I'd love to see that. All right, chewing gum. Isn't this in Hong Kong? Or I think it's Hong Kong.
You've probably heard about this prohibition that applies in Singapore. But not only can't you chew gum there, it's also forbidden to buy or bring it into the country. Except for the special medical gum, like nicotine gum for quitters and dental gum. They can only be bought in pharmacies. Otherwise, gum is strictly forbidden, and it can cost you some large fines. Why? Well, if you think about it, the reasons are quite logical. It's difficult and also expensive to scrape it off the floor, walls, bus seats, and other places where it's usually put. It's much easier to ban it than to spend money on this kind of work. Another reason came with the opening of the subway. Shortly after its launch, the hooligans found a great way to have fun. They stick it to the sensors on the automatic doors, which of course caused them to fail. In the end, the authorities concluded that chewing gum caused more problems than benefits and banned it altogether. And it seems to work.
You'd get more money. You'd get money from selling the chewing gum, and you'd get money from fining people. Because if it happened that much, then you can just fine them. And you get cameras so you can catch the person. But I guess maybe Singapore, there's a lot of tourists and stuff, so maybe it'd be harder to do that.
Subway doors no longer break, and you don't step on anything sticky while walking. Taking photographs.
Flipping hell.
The Alpine villages are practically made for photographs and for putting them on social networks afterwards, but it's not legal everywhere. Thus, the Swiss municipality of Bergen introduced a ban on photography in 2017. Each troublemaker will be fined $5.
How do you plead? Defense noted.
However, the ban doesn't apply to citizens who photograph from their precincts, nor to wedding photos, nor to photos taken from the car of a passing train. But what is the point of such a law? Well, the answer is simple. It's an advertisement. It really is. According to the authors of the prohibition, scientists have shown that photographs with beautiful views make people unhappy. This statement applies to those who can't go to this place and experience positive emotions in reality. And Bergen is really a wonderful place.
Wow. Okay. This place is like magical. I can imagine the how do you name it? The happiness rates, the general mental health for people is like so much higher than everywhere else in the world. This place looks insane.
In every way, similar to the decorations of fairy tales. Therefore, it's better to visit it in person rather than see photos of other people. Yes, it's very strange logic indeed. There are even signs of a ban on photography throughout the village. Did it help tourists and those who couldn't come to Bergen? Who knows?
What happened if you took a photo whilst having a shower? Oh, you're going to get life for that, man. If you do that in Switzerland, that's a lifetime sentence.
Traveling back in time.
Damn.
Or rather, it's forbidden to show films that include time travel. That law was passed in China in 2011.
Wait, is he travelling back in time?
Traveling back in time.
Okay, this is just weird now.
Or rather, it's forbidden to show films that include time travel. That law was passed in China in 2011. Representatives of the Central Bureau of Film, Radio and Television said that most of the stories in those films are fictitious and distort historical realities.
Films.
Come on, who would have thought? However, the Chinese authorities were very picky about the film's inaccuracies. In their opinion, such projects are not worth encouraging because they support superstition and almost undermine the state system.
So, is Interstellar considered like a film that you travel in time? Because he doesn't specifically travel in time, but he does in the same way. Like, it's not a time travel film, but because of what happens, flying around and then like, what's it called? Hit them going faster than the speed of light, and then it's sort of the time being wild, or whatever it is. I can't explain it, but. Is that what? Like, would that be considered time travel? I guess it kind of is. So would that film be banned in China? Because if it is, God, man, they're missing out. But at the same time, I guess they don't show American films in China, right? I don't know.
Well, who would have thought that any Back to the Future or X-Men could be so dangerous?
Back to the Future. Oh, mate, that's a
Interrupt
film.
a wedding. Do you remember this technique which was often used in old movies? A heroine marries someone, and the priest says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace," and then the hero breaks into the church and shouts, "I object!" He goes down the aisle to say that he really loves the heroine and, how romantic. Well, in South Australia, it's forbidden to do that, and it's no joke. You can't interrupt a wedding or a funeral here, and the prohibition is prescribed by law. According to it, anyone who deliberately obstructs a wedding or funeral ceremony is guilty of a crime and is liable to a maximum penalty of a $10,000 fine. And in some cases, it can cost you 2 years of life behind bars. The prohibition applies to all ceremonies, both secular and religious. Stopping on a motorway without gasoline. German highways are a place where there are special rules, and they're quite unexpected. All motorways have special recreation areas. There's also an emergency lane where you can stop in case of failure. So far, everything sounds quite logical. That's right. But if you run out of petrol on the motorway and suddenly stop, you will be fined. This is because traffic on these roads is very fast, and stopping can cause a serious accident. And the fact that you don't have any petrol won't be a mitigating factor. After all, you are the driver and should be responsible for such things.
That's a fair one.
Snowballs. We guess in every country where it snows, kids are free to play with snowballs. Sometimes adults do too, all over the world, except in the American city of Severance in Colorado, because here, almost a century ago, this fun game was banned. It sounds like
They banned it in a specific city as well.
lie, but that law really existed. It appeared in a regulation that forbade throwing stones and other things at people and their properties, such as cars. Harmless snowballs also fall under this definition. The first references to Severance date back to 1920. The ban on snowballing was almost as old as the city itself, and for many years no one even tried to change it. Fortunately, the younger generation may think differently. In October 2018, a boy named Dane Best was in an excursion in a city hall along with his classmates. The mayor began telling the school children about the strange laws. He also mentioned the snowball ban. However, the authorities never insisted on enforcing the ban. In addition, the mayor of Severance didn't even know how to punish punish the offenders. Overall, the law seemed completely meaningless, and Dane Best decided to fix the situation. A 9-year-old boy collected 24 signatures from his classmates to support him and prepared a 5-minute presentation. And what were you doing when you were 9? In his presentation, he explained in detail why the city authority should lift the ban.
Oh no! Okay, they lift the ban. I thought he was going to say they should make the ban like so it's actually like enforced. I was about to say, God, this generation's going crazy.
Boy called the law obsolete and stressed that children living in Severance, like children around the world, should have the opportunity to play with snowballs. And Dane succeeded. A meaningless law that lasted a century was abolished, and the mayor even gave the student a special snowballing device.
A king was born.
Are you looking for new technologies?
Nah, I'm not. But good video, man. I enjoyed it. I agree with the no chewing gum. I hated cleaning gum as a child. My mum wasn't having it. I never allowed my children to chew gum. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't, but definitely not in the house. It actually upsets me. Why? I mean, chewing gum is actually quite a disgusting creation, but it's just... I mean, I do it because obviously it makes your breath smell a bit nicer, and the one that I have actually clears your throat. It's menthol and eucalyptus. Do you have airways in the country that you're from? I don't know if this is a global brand or if it's just in the UK, but it's good for clearing your airways because it's really strong. That's why I chew it. Who else is here for the thumbnail? Wait, what was the thumbnail again? Oh, yeah. No, definitely not why I clicked it. I just thought that there's a country out there that has a rule about always showing the straps of their underwear. God, that is clickbait at its finest. But I'm probably going to clickbait you with that picture, so I apologise. Nah, I don't really. The game's a game. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. More of this on the way. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in future. And I mean, yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.